This video is being created to support the work that was done in lesson 2A and 2B with the Ed puzzle. I noticed that there were a number of you that were confused and got a lot of questions wrong on that video, and this will hopefully support some of the questions that you may have had. So I'm not quite sure if in reviewing your answers on the Ed puzzle, maybe you just weren't really paying full attention to the video. If that's the case, then I hope going forward that you pay a little bit more attention, because this work is really important. If by chance you are still confused about the difference between area, perimeter, exponents, then this video is for you, and I'm hoping to answer any of those kind of misconceptions that you have. So this video is on area and quadratics and what the relationship is between the two. So we have two shapes up here. We have a rectangle, and it looks like we have another rectangle and a square. These are all supposed to be, M and N are supposed to be squares. So we know that if they are squares, they have all equal sides. Okay, that is important when I'm talking about quadratics. So let's just review quickly about area. When I find area, I am looking for the space inside of my shape. So if I were to ask you to find the area of that rectangle, you would tell me it is the base times the height, which means I would multiply 7 times 4, which would be 28. Okay, now, the one thing that we often will forget are the units. So if I have units of inches and I have units of inches, if I take inches times inches, that means inches squared. Inches squared. So notice the exponent of 2. Okay, now, this shape right here, it's a square. It's got a side length of m. If I find the area, I have no numbers associated with it. I have m times m. Remember, m times m is m squared. So, if I find the area, I am multiplying two things together. This 2 has to do with the dimensions. How many dimensions did I use when I found the area of this rectangle? I multiplied it, the base times the height. Those are the dimensions. How did I measure my dimensions? I measured them in inches. So, inches times inches gives me square. This is where that square comes in. These numbers are just the numbers associated with my dimensions. That's it. So, that is why m times m is m squared. I have no number. I don't know what the dimensions are. The same thing with the n. N times n is n squared. So where I saw the misconceptions, let's see if I can duplicate. I don't think I can. So this is, I'm going to change and go to the next page. Again, x squared. Why do I care? You need to get this solidified, because we are going to be graphing, and when I have a square, I know that it's n times n, or x times x. And if I put a value in for x, 3 times 3, I know that I need to multiply those two values together. This is what I'm going to get. I'm going to get a parabola. That's why this business around a square is so important. So where did the misconceptions come in? Well, this is what I saw. There's my square, 4 equal sides. If this is n, and this obviously side length is also n, I had a number of you that were telling me that this is 4n. And I need to make sure it is not 4n. Because if this was 4n, that meant that you were finding the perimeter. Because if I go n plus n plus n plus n, that's how I find the perimeter of my shape. I add up all the side lengths. Well, if I have 4 n's that I'm adding together, the shortcut or the shorthand way that I can write that is 4n. That is very different than telling me n to the power of 4. N to the power of 4 means n times n times n times n. Okay, so perimeter is I'm adding. Area is when I am multiplying. Moving on. When I have a square and I multiply these two together, n times n gives me n squared. This 2 means I am squaring. Why is it 2 and not 4? Because I have 2 dimensions that I am multiplying together.